In this video help, I'm going to go to the property management screen, and I'm going to start by showing you when you do not have a record or need to create a new property. As far as the property information, you would go to the Do Action button and you would click on the Add New Record. What the Add New Record does is it adds a new blank record with no field entries, and you can go ahead and then add a new property. What you're going to be doing when you create a new property is you're setting up the parent record. The parent record is the one that has the property information, and what it does is it allows you to tie all the rest of the screens that are here to that one property record. So being the parent, these are the child records where you have supporting information. The only one that is different than that is that you have a property tenant button here, which will bring up the other parent screen in this application where you add this property, for example, and then put the tenant record, new record for that property, and create it so that you have that tenant for that particular piece of property. We'll cover that in detail about how you do that, just like we're doing in this particular record. Let's cover something about the do actions. Do actions are things that you do on the screen that you're viewing to change the way the screen is functioning. For example, adding a new record, starting the find mode. What the starting of the find mode does is if you have a record and you need to find a specific property or in whatever screen you're in, you would go to that particular field or fields and then go ahead, when you click the start find, it'll empty all the fields, and then you would go ahead and provide the information. In this case, if you were looking for the property at 300 West Noble Drive, then you would go ahead and type that in after you start the find. The find will put a question mark in all these fields, and when you type in that information and then say perform the find, it will bring up that record. Now you can add further information. For example, if you wanted to refine the way you're looking for something, you could look for maybe everything in one city or in a state or province, or add a cross street or a certain square footage for different kinds of property. Also in the property description field, this is a very large field where you can add a lot of data. You could also do a find in here for a phrase or a word, and all the records that have that phrase or word in it that would be added to the search find item. So there'd be a group of records which are called the records in selection when you perform the find. When you go do that, you can also move through the records by saying next and previous, or you can go to the list view for this application or this screen by using the pop-down menu and picking the list view, for example, for the property. That would give you a list of all those different properties where you could find the record you're looking for. Another way to look for a piece of property is to, as you add the properties, it's going to add them to this property address selection. In that particular thing, you can scroll up and down, and when you click on the property address, it'll bring up that record that you're looking for. It's just a little quicker way, and you can scroll by dragging the scroll bar up and down to find the property you're looking for. In addition to that, on this drop down, like I said, there's the next and prior. If you're going through the next and prior and you're finished looking at all the records that you want to do research, you should then push on this button, which is the show all records, to return all the records in selection. So if you go looking around the application and you don't see a record, the chances are somebody did a find and did not show all the records again. So you're only looking at the found set that was originally done in the perform find. So if you understand what I'm basically saying here is that you need to return all the records into selection after you get done using the records that you're researching. The next thing is tech support. If you need tech support, you can click on this. It'll take you to the support site, and you can get information about the application, or you can contact me if you need help through the support site. There is a chat capability where you can directly contact me on a chat, and if you need to, I can get on Skype and show you the functions and features of this application. Now, in this particular case, the videos that are included in this screen under the Do Action are going to be different on other screens. For example, this one is the main screen for the application, which comes on prior to this screen. Then there's the property entry, which is the one you're viewing now. And the last one is going to be the pop-up screens which are these over here, and they're going to be showing those in detail. With the exception of the property tenant, it's going to be a separate screen, and it'll be shown separately in its own main screen. Once again, let's go ahead and click off here. Recall that there are several screens on the pop-ups. This one, the one we're in right now, it's list view to show you the different individual properties within a list view. There's a property photos, which is this button. There is a list view for the property photos. There's a property owner screen, which is this one, and then the list view for that property screen. There's the property management screen, which is this one, and its list view. The property owner portal is the portal for the property owner screen, and basically gives you a more in detail type of thing. If you want to search on a record or record information, you can go to that record and do a search there to bring up detailed records with more information on them there. The tenant screen, I said, was a separate screen, and it is another parent screen. There's a tenant list screen for that particular screen. There's a property tenant portal, which gives you a better view of some of the information. Now, the property maintenance screen is over here. Its list view is here. And the property services screen is a part of a separate screen, but what it is it allows you to create a company listing of the companies that you may want to use for property services, which is a drop-down list. There's also a status list where you would go in and edit the status list. And then there's 4 reports that are included: the owner report, manager report, tenant report, and maintenance report. This pretty well covers this portion of the screen. I do want to cover one additional thing. This is a little deviation to the prior app versions that we used to do. There used to be check boxes that would allow you to do checkbox click-ins, and they would show property attributes or amenities within the property. The requests by users were that they had a longer scrollable area where they could either copy from the MRLS property description and paste it directly in here, and then add their own narrative after that about the property. Once they've had a chance to look at the property, they can take notes. And this is really beneficial in this application, that when you go to review a property, say for example is a real estate day and you're going to look at those properties, you can go look at them and take additional information and add it to this area, subordinate to the MRLS information. Okay, if you have any questions, as usual, you can contact me through the support site for details on how to use this. Oh, almost missed something. Let's go through the fields: property address, city, state and province, cross street, where this property crosses, you can have the best or closest cross street to the property, the square footage in either footage or whatever your local measurement is. It might be meters or square meters or whatever. That would go in this space. If it has an apartment number or a unit number, you would add it here. Town and country is more in Europe than in the US. That is our county, town and county. That you can put the county in the town if you need that information, if it's important to you. These are optional. Zip and postal, depending on if you're a country with a zip or a postal code, that would go in here. The type of dwelling, for example, it might be a wooden structure home, one level, or maybe a stucco one level, or ranch style, or whatever it is, and then the dwelling age. These are principal fields. The other narrative down here would be things, for example, like it has a 3-car garage and or it has a place for a swimming pool, or it has a swimming pool. All that information we provided in the property description down below that. Once again, if you need help, contact me by my email or go through the chat on the support site. Thank you.